Scott Brown here.
In this exciting episode, I'm going to be discussing 3 completely different tools that have changed the way that I work. So the plan is to highlight the benefits, what motivated me to buy the tools, and why I couldn't be without each of them now. Now, I wouldn't be a builder without a circular saw, and this one is the 125mm diameter Makita circular saw on the 40-volt platform. Now, initially I bought this because it can do something that no other circular saw can do that I know of. So I basically bought it for one feature, looked at it as somewhat of a novelty, but now I use it all the time. It is my most used circular saw now. It's definitely smaller than my other circular saws by a long shot, especially the largest one I have. So yeah, it's not about the size of it, it's about the functionality. So let's take a closer look. Now the standout feature of this saw, and the reason I bought it in the first place, is because of this. Most circular saws, when you want to cut an angle on it, up to 45 degrees say, you tilt it to the right. So if I wanted to cut an angle on this edge, that would be quite easy. But if I wanted to go the other way, not so easy. The base plate's hanging off the edge. Now there's a good reason that it can only tilt this way, and that's because the body of the saw is usually on this side. But this circular saw is different. Once you release the gauge on the front, there's a little lever here that lets you go that way. See that? So now we're tilted to the left. There's a cutout on the inside here, cutout of the base plate of the saw. Yes, it's only a 15-degree angle, you can't go any further than that. And the depth is only, I don't know, 30 mil. But you have a saw that can tilt both left and right. And I'll show you where that comes in really handy. Common thing on old houses is you have a floor and then they build a wall on top of it like this. So your flooring is trapped under there. Now whenever I'm renovating these old houses, I almost always have to take up the floor in some area, usually the bathroom. The floor rots out, you have to cut it out, and because the wall frame's been built on top of it, cutting out the floor is very difficult. So what you usually do is you get about as close as you can with a circular saw and you multi-tool the rest. It's slow, it's painful, it's brutal. But because this thing can cut on an angle like that, it can sneak under the wall. And you might be asking, well, what about the edge here, Scott? That's the reason you can't get the circular saw close to the wall. Well, that's where the real novelty of the circular saw comes in. There's 2 little knobs here, you loosen them, and the base plate becomes something completely different, and you can get this right up to the wall. Most houses are a bit better than this. Easy as that. But the main point is you get a nice clean cut very quickly, and then you can replace your old floor with a new floor all the way up to the wall. Now this saw was hard to get. I had to buy it through eBay. It cost me about 600 New Zealand dollars. And I'm pretty sure it got sent from Japan. Now all of that is because Makita New Zealand, where I'm based, does not bring that saw into the country. And that is because New Zealand is a small market, they're only going to bring tools that they're pretty sure are going to sell. Now thanks to the channel, I've been lucky enough to get sent free Makita tools in the past, but this one, I had to buy it. And I bought it for that novelty, but what I didn't realize is that I was buying my most used circular saw. I use this thing every day. It can cut a 4x2, which is what I'm cutting 80% of the time. It's lightweight, it takes the same batteries my drills take. The only downside is because Makita doesn't bring it into the country, I can't get the blades for it. It's 125mm blades. That's an odd size apparently. The blade I have here is the blade I got with the saw and it's looking pretty gnarly. So as far as tools that change the way I work, well, this novelty made me buy a saw that is a diameter that I otherwise wouldn't buy. And now I use it every single day. The next tool that has changed the way I work, this little ruler here. A lot more accessible than the last tool, affordable. I got it from my friend Gaston, who sells tools that are often novel. They're always useful. And this one in particular is both novel and useful. And now I carry it around with me every single day. Would you call this poetry?
Yes, like a love letter to tools. You know, sometimes you have a ruler on the bench and you want to pick it up. Imagine with my finger now, I can't like that, and you're like, oh, you can just throw it. So now we got the pickup feature. Pick up.
It's like a skateboard. Kickstand down, pick it up. That is because steel rulers are often very thin, so when you have them flat on the ground, they can be hard to pick up. And when I got it from Gaston, it came with a little sliding stock on it, and you could slide it, set it to a measurement, and then get nice parallel precise lines. But I often just use it like a steel ruler, and I keep it in my tool belt with me every day because it's so handy. Here's how I like to think of measuring tools. The thinner it is, the closer and more precise it can be. But sometimes you have to give up that closeness to the object that you're measuring in favor of things that can measure longer distances, like a measuring tape. It's off the surface, right? It's got a concave in it, and that way it can handle these extended measurements when you're trying to measure a wall or a beam or something like that. So the tape will do big measurements, but as I'm trying to get more precise, I go to the folding ruler. This one goes up to 2 meters. A lot of them are about 1 meter, and the advantage of the folding ruler is you're getting a little bit closer to the surface. That's only about 3 or 4 mil thick, and in the joins it jumps up a little bit more than that. Now, the steel ruler. Look how thin this is. It's so thin it's hard to film. That lets you get about as close as you'll ever need to get to a surface, and therefore you're much more accurate. So when I'm doing small precise measurements, if we're setting out on a floor or maybe we're doing some joinery here in the workshop, I pull this out to do the tiny precise measurements, knowing that there's no distance between my measuring device and the thing I'm marking. Hopefully that makes it clear why this has changed the way I work. I got a flippin' bandsaw, a Laguna 14-inch bandsaw, and I got it for free. Now before I try and explain how this has changed the way I it's changed the way I work, and how I ended up getting a free flippin' bandsaw, this video is brought to you by Squarespace. Squarespace is the all-in-one website building platform for entrepreneurs to stand out and succeed online. You can engage with your audience and you can sell anything from products to content to time, all in one place and all on your terms. Something that is new to Squarespace is Design Intelligence, which is an AI website builder. Squarespace uses artificial intelligence to create a starting point for your website, so that starting point will be tailored to your brand or business. And if you are selling something, you can make checkout easy for your customers with straightforward but effective payment options. You can accept credit cards, PayPal, Apple Pay. Also, in certain countries, you can give your customers the choice to buy now and pay later with Afterpay and ClearPay. Squarespace offer a range of visual design tools that make it easy to create a professional and modern looking website. These tools are ready to use and allow you to customize the appearance of your site without much hassle. And you can connect your social media accounts in a streamlined way. It makes the whole thing simple. But Squarespace also offer a free trial, so you have nothing to lose. If you are ready to launch a website, make sure you go to squarespace.com/Scott Brown Carpentry and you can save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. I used to think that the table saw was the center of the woodworking universe. And I'm a builder, so I don't know that much about woodworking. So it wasn't until I went on the course at the Center for Fine Woodworking, that's where I learned that the bandsaw is probably the more central piece of machinery in the woodworking workshop. I guess the reason it's the most used tool is because you can rip with it, and you can rip much bigger pieces as well, which is the first thing I did when I got this. That is remarkably good. My gosh. And because of the way it is, you know, one big blade going like this, rather than a blade projecting things that way, it's a lot safer. The table saw can kick back. This doesn't really kick back. It's still a tool with a blade, a very sharp blade, so you can hurt yourself. People cut their fingers off, but you have to work a bit harder to do that. And you can shape with the bandsaw. So I've been cutting curved cuts on this thing that I couldn't really do with a jigsaw because maybe the piece of wood was too thick, or with the table saw because it just cuts straight lines. So how did I end up getting it for free? Well, Laguna have already given me a table saw previously. Just over a year ago, I reached out to Carbotech here in New Zealand, and the owner, Grant of Carbotech, reached out to Laguna on my behalf without me knowing and said, hey, this guy's got a YouTube channel and he's going to build a kitchen and that's like free promotion for you. How about giving him a table saw? And Laguna said yes. So next thing you know, I get a free table saw that I then proceeded to drop onto the ground in my garage. When I finished the woodworking course, I reached out to Grant again, and he reached out to Laguna again, and Laguna very kindly said, yes, you can have a free bandsaw. It's crazy, and it's been fantastic. I now, when I'm thinking of building projects, I now incorporate the bandsaw into my planning. I can buy bigger items of timber knowing that I can rip it down to smaller sizes that suit me. I can also make curved cuts for furniture. I recently made a stool, and we made the seat have a little bum divot, and we cut that little bum divot on the bandsaw. It actually reminds me of another YouTube channel that I like very much, called the 10-Minute Workshop by Peter Millard. He talks about how the Festool domino is an enabling tool. It enabled him to do joinery quickly and consistently in a way that he otherwise couldn't before. Track saw is kind of a tool like that as well. And I think the bandsaw is a tool like that for me. Check out Peter's channel, by the way. I learned a lot about cabinetry from him. But yeah, the Laguna bandsaw. Very happy with it. Now I realize the absurdity of this list. We have a $4,000 bandsaw and a $10 ruler. And a circular saw that you can only order from Japan. But this list isn't necessarily tools that you should buy. These are tools that have helped me change the way I work. What tools change the way that you work, and did any of them take you by surprise? What tools are you considering that you think may change the way you work? If you haven't been able to tell already, I'm hoping for a Festool domino, and this is another step towards convincing Jess that that is the right tool for me to buy. And I'll chuck a couple of videos here if you want to watch some other YouTube videos from my YouTube channel. Thanks for watching!